with nostalgia.
Right, you feel so?
Yeah.
Like, can you mention some things like which he he broke some, like he broke
Yeah.
the ice
So
kind of a pattern?
the the point is, it was more about one single person,
Hmm.
right? He went more deeper into psyche of one single person,
Right.
right? That was not the case
With his
so
previous films.
vehemently with earlier films.
Right.
He was always like this, no doubt about it. But and he mentioned that in his Skultimin book, that book called Skultimin Time, right? That he didn't like mirror the way people liked it,
Right.
right? He was not happy with the mirror,
Yeah.
right? Uh, so he actually sculpted himself in nostalgia
Right.
by cutting out all those gaudy things,
He had
right?
cut out what? Most.
More, if you see the number of dream sequences that are there, just go by quantity, forget about quality aspect for time being. The amount of dream sequences he had earlier used to have in his
They have been
films,
reduced.
they have been reduced, and not just the quantity but the
Oh.
element of it. If you see the dream sequence in nostalgia, he even in sacrifice also, right? uh, uh, the I think, what is the name of that Burman regular, Erland Josephson, if I'm not wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah. So he's walking on the street, right? And there comes some mirror, right?
Right.
And he just opens that and he sees himself in that mirror.
Exactly.
If you remember that scene,
Yes.
right? So, or even in nostalgia, that he is remembering his own things,
Hmm.
but the dream sequences, like in his other films, right? There was something different than him or other than him.
Understood.
Right? If you see Ivan Childhood's dream sequences,
Yeah.
right, all that horse and
Yeah.
Kaku is there and all that stuff, right? Somehow I feel they were not directly related to the character, right?
Right.
The main character.
Hmm.
And it was more of an abstraction. So the point what I'm trying to say is, he reduced the abstraction part.
Well
Are
said.
you getting my point?
Right.
He became more
He came onto
pointed
the
filmmaker.
grounds and is talking only about the
Yeah.
particularized action.
Yeah, and he went into Bergman zone in Sacrifice also. How many times you have seen people are shouting at
Yeah.
each other in Tarkovsky's film, but he did that in
The Sacrifice.
in Sacrifice.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Most 70% sacrifice happens in one house,
Yeah, exactly.
one island. Actually, that is
Yes.
an island, right? Which is,
Just a single postman comes and goes, that's
yeah,
all.
it is undoubtedly the most Bergmanish film that Tarkovsky ever made. No Sacrifice.
Right.
Right. So he just toned it down and he evolved over the period of time, and that is the beauty of any filmmaker.
True.
Not just of Tarkovsky, but of any filmmaker. So that's what I said. I prefer uh, his his work when he is not the old Tarkovsky.
Right.
The refined new Tarkovsky is what I am in love with. It's not that I don't like Ivan Childhood or
Andrei Rublev.
Andrei Rublev, of course,
Right.
but I can say that Andrei Rublev is not up to the mark because he made something uh, which is even bigger and better than what his earlier films were.
Right.
And if any other filmmaker would have made Andrei Rublev, then that would have become his masterpiece in his entire life.
Yeah.
The epitome of
Epitome
greatness.
of what? Yeah.
But that's what defines these great people, right?
Right.
They just break what they made,
Yeah.
right? They just keep breaking what they are making.
Yeah.
So for me, it is always nostalgia.
And he was getting closer to the Bergmanesque elements, like the screaming and the shouting, and probably, as you told regarding that the Sacrifice film. So, do you feel if he continued his filmmaking with that element, like, what do you feel like he would go? He would go until where? To what point? To what extent?
I I believe
Because he is very soft, right?
no, no, yeah. So that's what I said, right? He was becoming more naturalistic in his
Yeah,
filmmaking.
real.
Yeah, you can say that he was becoming more real. So these people are always real in their own way, but the way he started to handle things was very different, right? He was becoming uh, more like a pedestrian filmmaker,
All right.
without uh, you know uh, without letting it go,
Hmm.
right? Without letting the Tarkovsky element go,
Yeah.
but he was becoming more and more real, and someone who is actually concerned with the personal problems of people,
Yeah.
right? So he was transforming into Bergmanish kind of a filmmaker,
Yeah.
if not
And
in the
and
handling.
as I'm sorry to interrupt, because I have to ask you this. Bergman and Tarkovsky took from each other
Yeah.
many a time, right? They told it famously. Do you feel Bergman has he ever got a little close to Tarkovsky? Like, has he ever become softer,
uh,
something like that?
I don't think so.
He was hardcore criminal.
Yes, he was like that only. He remained that. Uh, and I like that part, right?
Yeah,
Uh, because that was natural and normal to him.
right.
But even if you see his last work, right, there also that brutality is there.
Autumn Sonata.
Even if you go by TV film standards, it's Saraband,
Saraband, yeah, yeah.
right? Uh,
His last film is Saraband, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that hard element was always there, right? The most soft I saw him was in Wild Strawberries. Through
Yeah,
that
true.
old
So
guy's,
poetic.
yeah, that's the only time uh, where he was little bit gentle. Uh,
He was caressing,
yes.
which is
So
him.
otherwise, him with it is always knives out. Right? He is always there to kill you. He is never there to embrace you.
Yeah.
Right, and that's Bergman for you.
Yeah. He is so fucking real, right?
Yeah, of course he was from his first, not just first film, but I think the moment he thought about cinema, it was real for him.
Yeah.
Forget about what he made later, but
He never wanted that idealistic or like whatever the faith or hope in humans.
yeah, because
That
he had very different life. Right?
Yeah.
If you see his upbringing,
yeah,
it is very difficult to have uh, goody ideas about world when you have that kind of upbringing,
true.
right? And
All
kind
the
of
scars and all,
yeah,
right?
and the kind of person he was,
Yeah.
right? The kind of upbringing he got, it was not very ideal for a child. No child should go through that, right?
Yeah.
And that is the thing, that childhood always comes in his films this way or that way.
Yeah.
Right? Fanny and Alexander means there are certain elements that he directly took from his childhood,
Yeah. Yeah.
directly lifted from his childhood, just the way Tarkovsky did for Mirror,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, but just to coming back to the main question, I have never found him gentle,
Yeah.
except that couple of elements or movements
Wild
in
Strawberries.
in Wild Strawberries.
Yeah.
Right? Even the shocking part is even when someone is showering love on you, right? Then also there is no warmth. If you see that is seen in Winterlight,
Right.
right? Where she comes and she tells that I love you and all that blah blah thing, and he just says that my wife died long ago, and along with her I also died.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the end of it.
Devastating.
Right? Yeah. So there is no warmth, right?
Cutthroat.
Yeah. It is like that, and he remained like that, right? At least through his films,
Yeah.
right? He remained like that.
It was a dangerous line. Oh my god! It was like Camus, that book. What was that line?
My mother died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yesterday
or day before yesterday, I don't remember.
It is almost like
Yeah,
that.
but there is that connection. The existentialism flows through that
Through the
link.
art forms. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so from Kierkegaard to Camus to Sartre to Bergman. It just flew.
Exactly. So, where is Kislovsky here in between?
He was actually in between, to be very, very honest. Right?
Uh, just right behind you,
Yeah.
there are his hands.
Yeah. So, it reminds me something that my friend from Poland actually sent it to me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, he was actually in between two, right? To be very, very honest, because he was equally beautiful, right? But at the same time, he was also equally disturbing.
Yeah.
Right, if you see his scenarios, if you see his fade ins and fade outs, they're very beautiful,
Yes.
right? But he's the same person who gave one of the lengthiest and longest killing scenes in cinema,
Right.
with that Decalogue 5
Right. Yes.
fifth series in Decalogue, right? Short film about killing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
there is another film also.
yeah, so that is the beauty of Kieslowski, that he can bring smile on your face with his mesmerizing beauty,
Yeah.
but at the same time he will give you something which will destroy you.
Which
It-
will
it is-
give you a scar.
and it is in all his films.
Yeah.
Right? That has been the tradition of Kieslowski, right? If you see Red,
Yes.
right? I'm not remembering name of that dog. I think Rita is the name of that dog, right? So that the dog is almost dead because the car
Because of the car. Yeah.
hits that dog.
Yeah.
And out of some good consciousness, she tries to find the owner of the dog,
Yeah.
right? And after doing all these things, she is able to find the dog owner,
Yeah.
right? And she's there to return that dog to him. And she says, right, that I'm so happy that I could do something for the dog, and here I am returning it to you. And he asks, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And she says, "Of course. Why are you doing it?" So she says, "Otherwise, it will give me a nightmare." And
Yeah.
he asks, "Then you're doing it for yourself,
Yeah. It is.
right? You're
Yeah.
not doing it for dog. You're doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
You're doing it out of guilt.
That
or
is
out
how
of
deep.
fear."
Yeah. Moral
Right?
conscience.
So, and that is the bigness of these filmmakers,
Yeah.
right? That they can turn anything into anything.
They go beyond deeper things.
Yeah.
Beyond deeper things.
And they don't need big things to talk about big things. That is
Exactly.
their beauty.
Yeah.
Right? Just like Potato in Turin Horse. It tells
So much.
so much, right?
Yeah.
The repetitiveness of their lives,
The monotony of
the
life.
monotony of their lives, everything, just
Yeah.
with
The poverty.
the same one
Single.
potato.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are eating it all the time.
Yeah. And
Same
the
time.
boiled one.
Even the way the call out for the dinner is same. It is
Exactly.
ready.
Exactly.
That's it. There nothing more, nothing less. Only 3 words.
Exactly.
So that's why I am fascinated by all these giants. It is not because of their picturization or how beautiful they were, right?
Yeah.
It is what got reflected through their work,
Yeah.
right? I mean, something which is as ordinary as Potato.
Exactly.
So it is just amazing, right?
Yeah.
And you need to understand that so many people are struggling, well, let me tell you the real reason, right? When so many people around the world are struggling to make one good statement through their work, here we are talking about people who have documents of good work, volumes and volumes of good work.
Yeah.
People don't understand, but Belatar made Family Nest when he was 22. Can you imagine?
Yes.
At that time, he understood the family dynamics.
Yeah.
At that time, he understood how power works
Inside the family.
the person, within the family.
Yeah.
And he was just 22.
Wonderful. Yeah.
It is the time when you don't even know what to do in life.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
even know. If you have 100 rupees, you are confused what to do with that 100 rupees. You are so immature at that time.
Yeah.
And here is a man who made something which is devastatingly shattering at the age of 23.
Exactly.
right? And that has never gone away from me,
Yes.
right?
So this reminds, actually, since you spoke about Turin horse, which is in black and white, this reminds me of a little faithful or whatever kind of a thing. If how beautiful it would have been if Kislovsky made something in black and white, right?
Uh, I doubt. When he did, means if you see his earlier works,
Talking Heads, yeah,
yeah,
I've seen them short films.
Yeah, in short films he did that.
Yeah.
He did that.
I'm
But
talking only about features, but
I don't-
it would have been wonderful, right?
I think that was not his DNA.
Yeah,
Uh,
of course.
there is a reason, right? Why he was so vivacious with the visuals.
Yes,
Right? And he was vivacious with the visuals.
Of
The right
course.
word is that. So I doubt. Of course, he would whatever he would have made, it would have been perfect. There is no doubt about it.
yes.
But I doubt whether he would have.
But
done
like this,
anything
this
without
sort
color.
of bleakness, whenever there is inside of the story, whenever there is black and white, that is so real, right? That is so psychological to the viewer. If there is black and white, then why do you think that he did not adopt it, black and white?
See, that's what I said. His DNA was very different.
Yeah.
If you read his interviews, if you go and try to understand him in a different way, he was like that only, right? He was always painterly in his own imaginations also.
Yeah, wonderful.
So he was that kind of a person. But uh, the different question is, or if you try to find out opposite to it is, I have never liked what Laudias has ever done in color. He's always, for me, he's always breathtakingly beautiful
Note
and
end of
shattering. Yeah, people. Yeah,
end of life, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
end of history.
End of history, not
Right.
yeah,
But I have always preferred him in black and white.
exactly.
So he has done enough work. in
Lavdias
color
means
also.
black and white.
Yeah, so that's what I said. Right? Certain people own certain things.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
But you know, the look at the what is that? A little the split kind of a thing. Dichotomy. That's the right word. So Wong Kar-wai is so good with images. Is like he's like putting on black shades and still doing so much with the vivacious that sort of coloring and all, and he is so good at that shutter and all. But he did something in black and white. That film. What was that? That transgender film. What was that? Happy Together.
Happy to give it.
See, look at the beauty of it being black and white.
Yeah.
There is so much of bleakness attached to it. Though he was so good at adding bleakness, even though it was fully colored up in the frames, but he did that. It was so surprising, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
But the transitions were there. His camera tricks were still there.
Still there, of course. Yeah.
Even if the color was not there, those things were.
And what is Karwai Wong to you?
I have always believed that he is a reincarnation of at least 10, 15, 20 dead graphic artists. Right. I mean, it is so unbelievable to even to imagine what he did with colors.
Colors. Yeah.
And
He
with the
somehow
visuals.
invented something.
Means you cannot mistaken his films for any other work of any other filmmaker. He was that distinctive.
Yeah.
And one frame of Karwai Wong is enough to tell you that this is a Karwai Wong film.
Exactly.
Right. And that's what I said in the beginning, that few people own
Own
films.
some things. Yeah.
Right. Just like neon lights are owned by Wong Kar-wai. Right. The ticking clocks in a different way are owned by
Bergman.
owned by Bergman. So they own something. Right. And you will find that hands are owned by Bresso.
Bresso. Yeah.
Right. It is completely impossible to talk about Bresso without thinking
Hands.
about hands. So
Yeah.
it is their language.
Exactly.
It is their own language which they have created. Right.
Yeah.
And that applies to all great filmmakers actually.
Yeah.
Of course, there are exceptions to it.
Yeah.
Like it's very difficult to pinpoint what Kurosawa stand for in that sense, right? Because he was not someone with only one thing or one
Yeah, he's
language.
versatile in
Yeah,
nature.
he did different things,
Many
but
such
more or
things.
less you will find that signature.
Yes.
Of course, if I dive deep, I can definitely find that you will always find transitions in nature
Right.
when it comes to Kurosawa. You will always find that.
Yes.
He will use winds, he will use rain to signify something.
Yes. Yes.
But still, means the
Even
Kurosawa,
with his first film Rashomon, there is so much of rain.
yeah,
It begins with rain.
yeah, so of course, but the point is, it is difficult to believe that the same person can make something like Dodeskaden, which is very Russian literature kind of a thing,
Yes.
underbelly of Japan, underprivileged people, and he's showing their life, and at the same time he's making something which is completely painterly like dream,
Yes.
right? So it is
And
little
in
difficult.
between, he is also making a film like Ikiru as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. So at the same time he's also making high and low
Yeah.
to point out the corruption in
Yes.
political system or in bureaucracy or in business,
Yes.
right? So yeah, but more or less you will always have some imprint of your being in your cinema,
Yes.
right? Very strong.
And this takes me to Kim Ki-duk.
Yeah, no, it is Kim Ki-duk is silence. Means it has if there are, I think,
To be frank, actually, I have to tell you something. Like, I never told you. On behalf of this, I'll tell you. After watching Kim Ki-duk's 15 to 16 films in a row, like consecutively, like I was so totally occupied with his filmography, so immersive in it, and then suddenly silence fell upon, dawned on me, where uh, my anger has been totally gone. I was so surprised that it shook my belief system. Definitely, Kim Ki-duk played a dangerously predominant role in my like anger or the soothing part, the solace, with the solace that has to be contained within oneself. We should not be always exploring somewhere else. It is there inside of you.
yeah,
So Kim Ki-duk reminded me of that, and I really uh, got into that residence, and I loved it. So he's like the home is within you.
yeah.
That silence, yeah, like that.
But sometimes I believe that for me that silence was not very comforting.
Of
Because
course,
his characters are going through
dangerous conflicts.
so much, right? I mean, so that silence was eerie for me. It was not
Yeah, yeah.
very comforting or very soothing kind of a silence.
Yes,
Right?
of course.
So he was equally disturbed, and he was violent also. Means you can see,
Bad guy.
yeah, there are other films also, right?
I'll.
Where you can see that the people are getting tortured,
Yeah.
right? There is enough violence in his film, but
Crocodile.
yeah, so but he was a strange combination of that. He was silently violent
Yes.
in that sense.
Yeah. It reminds me of Bo, that film.
Yeah,
Bo and uh, what is that film? Three Iron. Yeah.
yeah.
So what is your favorite
you are,
of?
you are hitting someone with golf stick. Means you are not even hitting with golf stick. You are hitting him with the ball.
Ball.
Through a golf stick. So what more violent you can
Expect.
What more violence, different violence you can expect that, and that is also very beautifully shot.
Yes.
Right?
What is your favorite Kim's film?
It has to be that.
Spring Summer.
Yeah, it has to be that.
Yes.
It's for obvious reasons.
Yes. Miskin once famously told that spring, summer, fall, winter, and spring is for me like 1,000 other films.
Yeah.
It equals to 1,000 films, 1,000 or 100, I don't know exactly. Yeah. What about Miskin?
It's very difficult to talk about Indian filmmakers in this context, honestly speaking.
At least.
No, I think I have never liked him. I have liked his interviews more than his films.
Exactly. Yes.
Right? I have liked his interviews more. Where he had very particularly told about, where he had particularly described his likings
Dostoevsky
for
and
Russian literature,
yes,
for foreign cinema,
yes,
right? And how he said that if a 20-year-old guy is
yeah.
not watching Kurosawa film, then that is loss, big loss,
It's a wonderful statement. Yes,
right? So yeah, so I like him for his likes.
yes,
Very simple, to be very very precise. Nothing but nothing to talk about his work, honestly speaking.
Kashyap.
I think Kashyap was dead for me the moment he was finished with uh, it's his first film, which we never got released. But if when we talk about a release film, then I think only film that I care is Black Friday,
Okay, right.
right? And after that, I have never cared about it.
Of course, the psychological journey of a terrorist.
So it was well made film,
Yes.
but after that, I have nothing to say about him or his work.
For me, as far as I am concerned, my personal favorite is Gulal.
Like that political.
Yeah. And recently I've been like latching on to political consciousness all the time, right? I've observed that. And what do you like? Do you feel like in your like in the near future, if you would like to make a movie or write something, will there be political consciousness in it? Can you feel it? Or this is for the sake of you being aware of the political consciousness, this and that, the facts and all, factfulness, something like that.
No, I am at that stage where all that is in me is politics, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
It started when the pandemic
yeah,
shook
more
the
or
entire
less.
world.
Yeah, I was always reading about politics, right? I was uh, I was always a newspaper reader, right? So
Right. I've seen like you're spending 2 hours of time with
yeah,
newspaper.
means I cannot live without that, right? It's like daily bread and butter kind of thing for me. So I was aware about the things, but things become different, right? During the pandemic, after the pandemic, what world was going through, what was happening in our own country, right? uh, Specifically after 2014, the things started to change, right, in this country. So I was someone who who just who couldn't care less about all these things, right?
Yes.
I was that kind of a person. I never voted in my life,
Mm.
but I was that much careless about all these things. But then it became impossible for me to not to care about these things, right?
Yes.
Just like Margaret Duras wrote, right? Uh, when reality become unbearable, you become political,
Wonderful.
right? And that was the exact case,
Yes.
right? Looking at the world, right? Means it is so unbelievable, right? That
Yeah.
even today, two wars are happening in this world,
Mm.
right? What is happening in Israel and Gaza? What is happening in your Ukraine,
Yes.
right? You never know what will happen between China and Taiwan. They are always at loggerheads. You
Yes.
never know what will happen between North Korea and South Korea.
Mm.
Means when the first bombing happened, right, in Ukraine, I was asking myself, are we real? Is this for real? Means for me, war was only history.
Yes.
Right?
It is never the present,
Yeah.
nor the future.
It
Yeah.
it is only for books. It is only for films. It is only for documentaries. It is only for understanding the
Yeah.
things. Wars happen so that more wars should not happen. That should have been the less. That should have been the learning by
Beautiful.
people,
Beautifully said. Yeah.
right? But that hasn't happened,
Yeah.
right? And then from that it started to begin, right? I started to question everything.
Right.
It's shortage of water that is there in this country. The sanitation problems, they all are political,
Yes.
right? And unless and until you raise your voice, unless and until you do something for that, things are not going to get solved. right? And you another thing is, which I always believed, is, politics can remain untouched by you. You cannot remain untouched by politics.
Yes.
That is something which people should understand. Right? Few
Yeah.
people decide how much tax you will pay.
Mm.
They decide the cost of your living. They decide the cost of your LPG.
Yeah.
They decide the cost of your petrol.
Yeah.
How much you will be paying for your insurance.
Yeah.
Everything is decided by government.
It's like domino effect.
Yeah, so how can you stay away from that?
Yeah. It is ingrained.
So naturally it will sneak in,
Yeah.
right, in whatever you do, because it's a consciousness part,
Yes.
right? It's not that you will do only that,
Yes.
but at the back of the mind that thing will remain with you,
Yes.
whether you like it or not like it.
Yeah. So actually, this conversation regarding political, this thing is reminding me of Krishnamurti. How much of an impact is he on your mind, and uh, when did you ever encounter actually him?
I think it's very interesting story. I got to know about Krishnamurti through Osho.
Oh, and he speaks so highly of Krishnamurti, of
Yeah,
course.
so, and through the talks of Osho, I got to know about Krishnamurti, and then I started to read him, and I started to read as much as I can. Right? So, yeah, so he is an impact. Means I have to accept the fact.
Yeah.
Right? Uh, it's not that I'm in agreement with everything that he said, but
Yes.
the being in the moment part, right?
Yeah.
Which he and all actually, if you go deep, you will find that he didn't say anything new. It
Exactly.
is something which
Buddha.
which Buddha said. It is something which your Zen philosophy even today espouses for. So it's not that something new was there, but having the courage to tell that and to live by that in modern time,
And all across the globe, he has been roaming around.
all across the globe, it's a different thing.
Yes.
Right? So naturally he was an impact.
Probably is brought up a psychological revolution, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
So now, and it is not just about Krishnamurti, but all these things, even Yogi Aravind, right?
Hmm.
Or even your other spiritualists, right, from Asia,
Hmm.
right? Even Mahavira, right? He means, what a beautiful word Mahavira gave for this thing, right? When you are, he coined the term called anekanta,
Hmm.
right? It actually means when you, even though you are surrounded by people, lakhs and
You
lakhs
feel
of
alone.
people, you are still lonely.
Yeah.
And he coined that term anekanta,
Fantastic.
right? So it is not just, so that's what I said, right? You can never be influenced only by one person if you have the ability to explore. That's
Yes.
what we were discussing yesterday, right? You are as good as you explore,
Exactly.
right? And whether it is Asian philosophy, or whether it is Western philosophy, or whether it is something different, right? You will be having those kind of influences within you,
Yeah.
right? Then it doesn't matter whether it is India or any abroad or any foreign country.
So then I'll go with the most stereotypical question. Like, can you name your own 10 filmmakers?
I think it's an open secret. So obviously, means, it has to begin with Bergman. Because
Bergman.
it began with Bergman. It's very simple. If I started to take cinema seriously because of Bergman.
Right.
So uh, all my personal experiences about the cinema, about the formative years of cinema, are related to Bergman.
Yes.
Right? If it was through his films that I learned so many things. Right? I still remember, if I was not able to eat my dinner after watching his Winterlight, and I had never experienced anything like that
Yes.
because I am a hardcore foodie, and if you can snatch food away from a foodie
It is.
just with the help of a film, so it tells you a lot, right?
It
That
speaks volumes. Yeah.
power of that man, right? So yeah, so it has to begin with Bergman.
Okay.
Then obviously
Tarkovsky.
Tarkovsky for very very clear reasons, right? He, I believe there is nothing like perfection in art, right?
Mm.
But if you go by the standards of cinema,
He was so close to it.
yeah, I mean, take editing.
Yeah. All.
The biggest thing with these people is, particularly with Bergman, Tarkovsky and Kieslowski, right? If you try to select best music pieces or sound, forget about music, best uses of sound,
Right.
right? You will always find these people's work,
Yes. The lighthouse.
right? The drill machine kind of uses of sound in, I think it is in Sacrifice,
Right.
for dream sequences,
Yes.
right? Uh,
And that stalker train.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So many things.
uh, best editing,
Yeah.
right? If you go by that standard also, then also you will find that scene in Mirror where she's running.
Yeah. The slow mo. A little slower.
Little slow. It is not even slow motion.
Yeah.
It is not fast motion. It is in between, and
Yes.
she is going back to press, right? So you take any dimension, you take any element of cinema, best written films,
Yes.
right? I can just quote and quote and quote, right?
The sepia tone.
Yeah, the unspeakable feelings
Unforgettable.
are unforgettable. Means
Nostalgia.
you,
Yeah.
it is the line which can send so many philosophers back to this philosopher's stone.
Absolutely. Beautiful.
It is that kind of a line.
Yes.
Take example of Kieslowski. True love doesn't exist between two legs. It
Exactly.
exists between two hearts.
Yes.
So I can just go on and on and on. So that is the power. Or Bresso, right? We are discussing yesterday. Right? Doctor, I am not ill.
Yeah.
My illness is I can see too clearly.
Yeah.
Devil's problem.
The
So-
devil probably. Yeah.
So you go by any parameter. Right?
Yes.
These people will feature
Yes.
best editing, best sound, right? Even best acting,
Yes.
right? Means you really need to have some different eyes not to see the brilliance of Leo Ullman,
Yes.
right? In most of Bergman films,
Yes. She's impeccable.
yeah. You know, so that's what I'm trying to say, right? Why these people matter, because I still believe nobody is perfect and nobody will ever be perfect, but they were so close,
Yeah.
right? I cannot edit even a single moment in Bresso's work,
Yeah.
particularly the later work of Bresso, not earlier films of Bresso, but later part of his life.
Hmm. So this brings you to your third one, Bresso.
Yeah, absolutely. There is no doubt about it.
And
Right. So we got Bergman, Tarkovsky, Kieslowski, Godard.
okay. Okay.
Godard has to be there.
Yes.
Right. I don't think anybody was as modern as Godard.
Hmm.
Right? I don't think so.
Yes.
The kind of sheer audacity he had. Right?
Like a childlike audacity.
Yeah, and
He was chopping off everybody.
But the beautiful part is he never cared about his audience.
Yes.
You know, and that kind of guts,
Courage. Yeah.
that kind of courage is very unique. You
Yes.
don't find that.
And so much of inventiveness too.
Yeah, means he was never same.
Yeah.
Right? He was always different.
He was constantly exploring the unexplored that is there within him. Yeah.
Yeah, and political consciousness.
Yes. Yes.
The most
That is the most
significant part about Godard was this.
that powerful part. Yeah. Of course.
That he was actively political.
And he was on the grounds with Truffaut and all. Yeah.
He was on the ground, right? Police arrested him. Lots and lots of things had happened in his life. But the political consciousness which was there in his films, right, was also something very very different. Right?
Yes.
He was vocally supporting the cause, like Vietnam War,
Yes.
right? That never went away from Godard. Never went away from Godard. Not even in short films. Forget about feature, but even the segments that he made the Vietnam was so predominantly present.
Present, yeah, in his films.
Right?
Yeah,
He talked about Israel Palestine things in many films,
right.
right? And with inventive techniques.
Exactly.
That goes without saying.
Yes.
Right? The way he edited, the way he shot, it is still not possible for many modern filmmakers, and it won't be possible for many modern filmmakers,
Hmm.
and we have to live with that.
Yes.
Right?
And Bergman, Tarkovsky, Kislovsky, uh,
I think then I will
Godard
I will
and
go with Buñuel.
Buñuel.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
So
go with
then, what
Buñuel.
is Buñuel to you?
I think again the most inventive person. I don't remember any other filmmaker had.
I remember, which is my personal favorite, is Nazarin.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that 45-minute, 50-minute film, I guess.
No, over 1 hour.
Yeah, or something between that.
Yep, close to 1.5.
Yeah, yeah. Again, the same thing, right? Um, the the dream part of it, right? But in a very different way, the surreal way.
Yes, that's the right word.
Yeah. So he actually brought surrealism in films.
Yeah,
So
because he was with Dali,
yeah, he was with that. He was the
Salvador.
yeah. He gave birth to that movement, at least in cinema.
Yes,
I cannot say about other art forms, but definitely in cinema, he was the father of that.
surrealism in cinema.
Means the boldness is very striking,
Yes,
right? The kind of works they did, again the same inventiveness, the courage to even mock your religion.
yes,
Right? He did that in so many films.
of course.
Viridiana, even in Milky Way, he did that.
Yes, yes.
He actually did mockery of Last Supper.
Hmm.
In the last scene of Viridiana is really mockery to that Last Supper scene from Christianity.
Yes, the last painting of
So
Da Vinci.
it is so amazing to see that the courage which they had, not just the talent, courage,
Yes,
right? So naturally Buñuel will be there.
5. It
Yeah. Then I have to mention Fassbinder.
Fassbinder. Yes. Actually, you remind me of Fassbinder. You look like him a little.
That I don't know, but yeah, I have to mention Fassbinder
Yeah.
for very simple reason that he was the first filmmaker, right, who created class system in cinema in a very different way.
Hmm.
You are either exploited or you are the exploiter.
Yes. Polar opposites.
That is the only theme
Yes.
that Fassbinder. You will always find two people. One is in love with someone else, and that person is taking disadvantage
Of it.
of him or her.
Yeah.
You see any film,
Yeah.
Bitter Tears of Petrol, any film.
Yeah. Of
You
course.
will always find that anime in a year with 13. So he actually created that class system.
Yes.
That someone will exploit you, and then the pain of that person. Then
Aftermath
the
of
power dynamics in the
Yeah.
relationship.
The Chinese Rowlett was also dealing with that.
Everything
Each and everything.
was like that.
Yes.
95% of his work was
Ali.
like that.
Ali. Ali
Yeah,
was.
fear is the soul.
Yes.
Right.
And
So I think then obviously Kiarostami.
Abbas Kiarostami.
He has to be there.
Hmm. Yeah, what does he mean to you?
Uh,
Like in
I think little cynic minimalism, right? Little more beautiful minimalism, something which Bresso didn't have, right? Bresso was in a way Bresso was very bleak, but
Yes, of course. He's cutthroat,
yeah.
brutal.
And a little bit more hopeful about life.
Yes.
The Test of Sherry is all about that, right?
His cinema is like testimony.
Yeah, that even the name and the life goes on. The name of that film is like that.
And life goes on.
Even
Yeah.
after your earthquake and everything is coming down, people are still living. People are
Yes.
still trying to live.
That is what hope is for.
Yeah, that is what it is.
Yeah.
And but he again had that you know knack to present situations in very delicate way,
Yes.
right?
Most simplest of ways actually.
Yeah. So even I mean he was also inventive. People, I think we have not done enough justice with that element of Kiarostami, right? If you see experience, right, which is I think less than 1 hour kind of a film, and it is in black and white,
Yeah.
and you will clearly see the camera angle is something which he never did later in his life.
Yes.
It was always like in this like mid shot kind of a thing,
Hmm.
right? Following the, and 85 to 90% of the screen time is given to that person only, that boy.
Yes. Traveler, right?
Yeah, no, experience.
Experience, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That boys, the ticket and all.
No, that is traveler. I'm
That is
talking
traveler.
about some
Okay,
different
okay,
film.
okay. Yes.
So it is like coming of an age film where he is adulting,
Yes.
right? So first experience of smoke, first experience of smoking, first experience of having some feelings for girls.
Yes, yes. I
Right? So
remember.
all those typical things, but in you will be surprised to know that what he was able to do that also,
Yes.
right? But we have not spoken about it because as I said earlier also, they have done so much great work that other great works get shadowed by that,
Yeah.
actually, right? And experience is that kind of a film which I believe is overshadowed because of great Test of Cherry and great Close Up,
Close up.
right?
Hmm.
But I think experience needs to be discussed more, needs to be
Yeah.
you know
It is more of an experimentation, as in like likewise close up.
yeah,
More
exactly.
great experimentation. Yeah.
So he was that. So that's what I said, right? He was more, little bit more beautifully minimalist
Yeah.
in that sense.
He always wanted to capture the moment of innocence
Yeah.
through different kinds of people and like showcasing that human condition. Yeah. And
Antonio means,
yeah.
of course not his later work, but earlier films.
My personal favorite is La Notte.
Yeah, that has to be. That is more or less same with most of the people, if not all.
Of course.
So naturally, but he was never the easiest filmmaker for me. Right?
Yeah.
I had to actually fight with him.
Hmm.
Right? Unlike other filmmakers, he never came easy to me. I think he was like conquering Himalaya for me.
Hmm.
I had watched his film for 3 times. I had deleted him 3 times. And it's only in the fourth view that I started to understand what he was trying to do.
Right. In rewatching, you got to know him.
Yeah, no, not just through film. See, you cannot know cinema just through cinema.
Right.
It has to through your life,
Yeah.
right?
Our own
And
way of
Antonioni
life.
for me is completely because of my own experiences. I generally doubt if I was not going through those same things.
Describe.
uh,
Describe Corona.
A very simple experience I can tell you, right? I was attending some function in my family,
Hmm.
and naturally I'm not very much attached to them, right? For obvious reason, I'm not in talking terms with most of the people, right? And so, and they started to talk about something which is very mundane and boring for me.
Hmm.
Someone was talking about the shopping that they did. Someone was talking about the house that they are refurnishing and all. And I got bored actually. I was not feeling well. So I just,
Walked out of the place.
yeah, and I walked for 1 kilometer.
Hmm.
And that area was not known to me actually. It was in Pune, but very southern corner of Pune.
An unknown
Where,
place.
yeah, where I have never been.
Hmm.
So the area was unknown, but still I just wanted to
Take a long walk.
yeah, just wanted to go away from there,
Yeah.
from that entire scenario, the talking.
Right.
Um,
Want to alienate yourself from
yeah.
that.
So and I almost walked 1 to 2 kilometers, and I suddenly stopped,
Mm.
and I asked myself, this is what Antonioni's characters are doing in his films. That's
Yeah.
why they are walking all the
Continue
time.
walking and talking inside and to the person next
Exactly,
to him.
because that is only escape route,
Exactly.
right?
Walking.
And then it changed. Then I started to understand him more.
Hmm.
So that's what I said. If I have not gone through those motions and those
Personal
feelings,
experience. Hmm.
it's very difficult for anyone, not just to me. But because that's what Kieslowski described Antonioni very well. That Kieslowski said that he is a director of peculiar moods.
Fantastic.
That's what Kieslowski said about Antonioni. Even Bergman in his later life said that I started to understand I started to admire Antonioni much later in my life.
Yeah.
It is said by Bergman also. So it's I can understand why they said that,
Yes.
because you have to, because uh,
Go through your own peculiar moments.
yeah, love is very common experience, right? We all go through that.
Yes.
Happiness is something which we all experience. Tragedy is something which we all experience. But alienation is something which very few people experience.
Exactly.
Very few people. And that's why you see most of the people are happy on the road, at least at cursory glance, right? But that alienation part is very important for Antonioni, and for you also to understand Antonioni.
Yes.
If you can understand him without going through alienation, it's fantastic. But
It is
very
Ulysses. It is Ulysses for you.
it is very difficult. Of course, you can never say no to anything, but it is very difficult.
Yeah.
So my personal experience was this, and not just this. There are so many things that happened in my life which was actually captured by Antonio.
Mm.
And every time I just wonder that this is what he is trying to do.
Mm.
And there is one film, unfortunately I'm not remembering name of that film, right? Where he's so enthusiastic about going abroad. He has collected all the documents, right? He's so happy,
Hmm.
right? And he's going to submit those documents, right? And the moment arrives and all the enthusiasm is gone.
Mm.
He just throws away those documents and just vanishes.
Right.
So that, if you have experienced on your own, right, that how you are, something has happened in your life and you're so happy, or you're so enthusiastic about something, and suddenly that mood disappears,
Yeah, drastic.
right? This fall,
Yeah.
right? So I have experienced that many times.
Yeah. That hits you very hard. Yeah.
So that's what I said, right? Some things have to happen to you to understand cinema.
Yes.
So I am not a believer that only by watching films,
Of course.
or
It is
reading,
through way of life that we understand
reading
art.
books, or
Way
attending,
more. Yeah,
or
yeah.
attending film schools, only and only then you will understand. Life
Yes.
is much more important than that. Personal experiences.
And
And then I think I should take.
will you end of the day miss out on Lavdias or what?
Uh, in my top 10, I doubt.
Oh my god.
In
I'm
my
shocked.
top 10, yeah, because Fellini was there, right?
Lavdias is introduced to me by you.
Yeah, so I have introduced so many filmmakers to so many people, but that doesn't mean they should be in my. See, Live Diaz is a legend. I mean, there is no doubt about it. You are talking about top 10, right? Where do you put Sergio Perugino? I have not even mentioned him, right? So I don't.
And
see,
Carvai Wong.
yeah, so that's what I said, right? There is not even a single bad frame.
And
ever
you're a
done.
dangerous admirer of Mizoguchi too.
Absolutely, not just Mizoguchi,
Ozu.
Naruse,
Ozu.
not just Ozu. See, that is the problem.
That goes on.
That is the
Kurosawa.
problem. Yeah, so these are the 4 pillars, right? Or 4 pillars of Japanese cinema that people always talk about, and they are great.
Who are they? Mizoguchi?
Right.
Ozu?
Kurosawa,
Right.
Ozu,
Right.
Mizoguchi. These three are the most sought out filmmaker, right?
Yes.
World knows them, right? But very few people talk about Naruse,
Yes, Mikianas. Yeah.
right? And I have no doubt that he is the most underrated filmmaker.
Yes.
Which I have not seen even a single bad film by that guy.
Yes.
Particularly in his earlier zone, when he was in his earlier zone of
Making
excellence.
films. Yes.
So yeah, obviously when there is Mizoguchi, there is Ozu, right? And as I said, Sergei Parashino, where would you put him?
Yeah. So it is becoming difficult, right?
Yeah,
It's
that's
close to
what I
10.
said. It is very difficult, and there are certain things that go beyond numbers,
Yeah.
right, or beyond counts.
Yes, yes. So Fellini comes into play here?
Yeah, I think yes. Means
For
I
for
started
you,
to,
what is it to you?
see, I started to add again the same thing. It took time for me to appreciate even Fellini the way I am appreciating him now.
Right.
Right? You start to love the depth of a filmmaker. Right? There comes a time when visuals and the exteriority of cinema takes backseat, right? And you actually understand or try to understand the innermost things that the filmmaker is trying to do,
Yes.
the writer is trying to do, right? So naturally he was so visually stunning, so visually breathtaking that you might, at least with me, it happened that I missed out on so many things,
Yes.
right? I mean, why she laughs in the end, right? If you talk about Knights of Cabiria,
Right.
right? Why she laughs at the end, right?
Right.
All the troubles that are there, right? Everyone is just taking disadvantage of her,
Yes.
right? Everything is against her. Starting from, means she genuinely starts to like someone, and then as a written, he is hurting her all the time,
Yes.
right? That is the story of that lady.
Yes.
But despite of all this, right, how the end has happened in Nights, right? There is a religious kind of a procession is going on.
Yeah.
Some people, young people are there, they are shouting, and they are enjoying their lives. And she's just walking, and suddenly she smiles.
Hmm.
Right? So it took time, right? That she triumphed over all those people who try to discourage her, who try to hurt her. Naturally, I miss that,
Yes.
right? I miss that. There is always that. Even uh, what is the name of that film where he has shown his childhood? This is almost everything about Fellini is autobiographical.
Yes.
But that particular film where he has shown his childhood, right, it's very very personal to him. And there also we see Mussolini's photo,
Hmm.
right,
Super.
right. So naturally
Robert Musil.
you don't recognize these things very very easily,
Right.
right? So naturally there is that element of Fellini which will never go away.
Yeah.
Not just from technical point of view, but the internalities of cinema,
Yes.
right? The intricacies of human emotions. And he was very sentimental filmmaker.
Yes. Yes.
He was very very sentimental filmmaker,
True.
right? I mean, very rarely that happens, but I was moved by some of the scenes in La Dolce Vita. Right?
Yeah. La Dolce Vita is my personal favorite of Fellini's.
You can easily recognize that thing.
Yeah.
Right? That certain touch is there.
The Chaplin-like touch,
Yeah.
right?
They all were admirers of Chaplin.
Yes.
So yeah, and definitely then it comes to Chaplin. Means
Is behind you, right behind.
yeah. So I don't think so. There is anyone who is as universal as Chaplin in world of cinema.
Yes. Yes.
Means I have met people who don't like Bergman. I have met people who don't like Haneke. There are people who don't like Tarkovsky or Godard. but I am yet to find a person
Who dislike
who
Chaplin.
dislike Charlie Chaplin. And that is amazing. Right?
Wonderful.
Yeah, because I don't see there is anyone who can be as human
As
him.
Chaplin. Yes.
It's
True.
impossible.
Well said.
Maybe technically there were other silent filmmakers, silent era filmmakers who were far better than Chaplin. If we talk about technicalities,
But the humanistic element
yeah,
of
the humanistic element was something.
unsurpassable. Yeah.
Means, it is people like Chaplin happens once in 500 years and then they vanish. Right? They
Right.
don't come again.
Yeah.
So naturally Chaplin will be there in that sense. Not in the cinema kind of thing or technical from technical aspects, but cinema as a whole.
Yes.
Right? Chaplin will be there.
Yeah.
Right? And then I think I should mention
You missed out on Bresso.
no, I mentioned this.
No, you didn't. Ah, yes, yes.
How can you miss how can you miss your
The element of cinema.
heart and kidney and lungs when you're talking about your body? Bresso is that.
Yeah.
So yeah, then
And are you trying to tell another filmmaker or what?
yeah, I think I should mention at least one more filmmaker who is important to me.
Rai is not there.
Sorry?
Satyajit Rai is not there.
Yeah, again, it's I was never a big admirer of Ray when I started to see films. Honestly speaking,
Okay.
I never found him even good enough.
Okay.
But as you grow up,
Yeah.
right, and as you try to understand cinema, then you realize, oh, that guy was something special,
Yes.
right? I'm speaking strictly in terms of cinema language, cinema as a language, right? I don't think so anybody has used camera as powerfully as Ray in
Yeah.
Indian cinema. I
Yes.
don't see anyone has used sound as powerful as cinema. So
Yes.
as powerful as Ray in Indian cinema.
Even the music,
Yeah. So
such a wonderful
yeah,
instrument.
and nobody was as bold as Ray, even in his writing. Means, in that Adversary, there is that scene, right? Famous interview scene.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the skeleton.
And that is
Nayak.
in Nayak, but
Right.
in Pratidwandi,
Yeah.
if I'm remembering correctly, yeah, it is Pratidwandi. There is an interview scene,
Yes.
right, where that person is asking this young boy who is trying to get a job, that which is the most important thing according to you which happened, right?
Yeah.
And he says Vietnam War, right? And that senior person, are you sure? We went to moon. Right? Isn't that the most significant thing? He replies that it's a technology, right? Today or tomorrow we were about to reach there, right? But everything and that Vietnamese people had was courage,
Yeah.
and they were fighting against America, some superpower.
Mm.
And that senior guy says, are you communist? Then he says, you don't have to be communist to appreciate what Vietnamese people did. Normally ordinary guys.
Oh my God. Look at the power of writing.
Yeah, so the daring to say this,
Yeah.
particularly in a country like India, which is, I still believe, is very
He is fucking freaking
Yeah.
courageous.
yeah, it is, and more
So bold.
courageous in different way, that you know, even in that film only you see he's seeing himself in mirror, and that is getting translated into Che Guevara,
Yes, yes. Oh, what a transition.
right? If I can remember correctly, right? So courageous in a way that what is the guarantee that people will understand this?
Yes.
Think commercially, right? Because unfortunately, as Ray himself has expressed, we are fairly backward audience,
Yes.
and we are tremendously backward
Still,
audience.
we'll still live
So
live on like that.
yeah, and doing something like this 40 years ago, when there was no exposure to foreign cinema, when there was no exposure to media the way right now we have, right? Understand what was the possibility that people knew Che Guevara. Okay, only intellectuals or only typical elite people who, who used to read will know about it.
Yes.
What is the chance that ordinary guy who gives you 50-20 rupees for film will know Che Guevara?
Yes.
At that time, what was the possibility?
Yes.
Even today, you go and ask how many people know Che Guevara. They cannot even speak 5-10 lines about Che Guevara.
Yes.
I can assure you that.
Absolutely.
Right? I have done all those experiments. That's why
Yes.
I am saying this. So think about courage from that perspective. Right?
Yeah.
And nobody has ever done that. You know. And after him also nobody did that. Something like that.
Even Akira famously told that missing out on
Yeah. It's even
Ray is like missing out on sun on moon.
even Ghatak said, right?
Yeah.
If there is only one person in this country who has actually understood cinema, then that is Satyajit.
Yeah.
So absolutely,
He is there.
he will always be there. But I am very honestly, I never liked him in my formative years. I never liked him. But
Yeah. As you progress.
you progress, you journey through.
Yes.
But as far as India is concerned, he is the emperor.
He
There
stands
is no-
tall. Yeah.
Tallest, not just the tall, but he,
The tallest statue,
Yeah.
kind of a thing. Yeah.
Absolutely, he will be there. Then I should mention Pasolini also. You know, definitely, he needs that kind of admiration.
Mm-hmm. Pure puzzle.
Yeah, he's not very pleasant filmmaker to watch at all,
Yeah.
but very very powerful filmmaker. And he lived that kind of life also, right? Coming from very very poor background, struggling on the roads of Italy, then dabbling with communism, right? His homosexuality,
Yes.
and creating something which was as devastating as his work, right?
Yes.
So absolutely, so Pasolini should be there.
Yeah. We reached 10, I guess, more than 10. It's wonderful talking to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I guess this will make some sense to us.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll take this home. Nice. Huh? See.
Bye bye.